So for this project, I'm using 2 different patterns of infusible ink. This is actually a great project to use up any scraps of infusible ink if you have it, because the koozies are just so small. So I'm going to be using this greenish pattern up here from the Mermaid Rainbow, and then I think I'm going to be using this navy blue, but I'm not sure because I like them all. So anyway, I just wanted to show you what those look like. Remember, when you get your infusible ink out of the box, it's not going to look like the final result. So this is actually going to turn into this greenish color up top. So just take note of that. This is not the finished product. It will look like that color. So here's what the project looks like in Design Space. I will leave a link below so you can access this and make it if you would like to as well. Pretty much all I did was search for football themed designs over here in images. So you can go ahead and do that if you'd like. But then for the helmet, I wanted to add some text. So I just typed in football helmet, and you can pick any of these. Let's use this one for example. You can insert it, and then you can just go ahead and click on text, and I added go, pack, go. And then I'm gonna center this, and then the font that I use for this, and it's called Leah's Wedding Font. And then I'm going to adjust the line spacing up here. We'll move this closer together. And then I'm going to put it on top of my helmet, kind of get it sized however you'd like. And then I'm going to highlight both my text and the helmet, and I'm going to hit slice. And this is going to cut the letters out of the helmet like you see up here. So we've got our different layers now. So you can go ahead and delete those or hide them. And that's how I use the slice tool to make the helmet. Then from here, all you need to do is measure your koozie and then figure out what dimensions you want for your designs. So I did mine all to be about 3 inches tall. Then from there, you'll click on Make It. Make sure you have the right machine selected. I did separate mine into the 2 different colors so I could cut on 2 different mats. And then make sure when you're working with infusible ink to click on that mirror and then hit continue and connect. So I've got my transfer sheets picked out, and now I'm going to get them cut to size. I'm using a paper trimmer to do this, but you can definitely just cut with the scissors as well. So we just need to get these cut to the right dimensions, and then we'll get them placed on our cutting mat. Now I'm going to get my infusible ink placed onto a standard grip cutting mat. So get that lined up, and then I like to use a brayer tool or a scraper tool to push it down on the mat. We want to try and avoid touching the infusible ink as much as possible, and obviously that's impossible to do, but just little steps like this, like not wiping your hand over it to push it down on the mat, can help a lot. So that's why I like to use a brayer tool or a scraper tool. So I'm working on a Cricut Explore Air 2 today, but you can use any of the Cricut machines, including the Joy, which is super nice. We're going to move the Smart Dial over to Custom, and then in Design Space, we will choose Infusible Ink Transfer Sheets as our material. And now we'll get this loaded in. And then once the C flashes, we'll get cutting. So it's all finished cutting. We're going to get this unloaded. And then to remove the infusible ink from the mat, I like to flip the mat over and bend the mat back while I pull the infusible ink off straight. Alright, so once you've got your infusible ink transfer sheet off of your cutting mat, you can trim it down to size if you'd like. And then we're going to weed. So this is definitely going to be the most time-consuming part of the process. And I would say if this is your first time working with infusible ink, you probably want to keep your designs pretty simple. Mine are a little more on the complex side only because there's just lots of letters, things like that. Weeding is pretty simple, so we're going to actually weed with our hands, but I do have a weeder tool and a scissors on hand because sometimes I do like to use those tools while I weed too. But for the most part, we're going to just start in a corner and peel up the edge. And you might have to kind of like roll or push back a little, but just get one edge lifted up, just like that. And then this one, we are weeding around the design and then inside of it. So this is going to remove the outside of it. So just go nice and slow and just peel away with your fingers. And if you haven't worked with this before, this clear sheet is a little sticky. So if you mess up, you can actually just put things right back on, which is really nice. So then from here, we're going to weed our letters out of the football. To do this, I just like to bend the transfer sheet back a little bit. And you see how it popped up there? And then grab it with my nail or your finger and just peel it out. So this is what I meant when I was saying it might be nice if you haven't done this before to start with something not so tiny and complex, just because this will take me a little bit of time, but I'm honestly so impressed at how little the Cricut can cut and make such precise cuts. Okay, so the D, the inside of the D started to come up, so I'm just gonna push that back down. Perfect. So just go nice and slow, and remember, if something does accidentally come off, you can apply it back onto your sheet as well. So now we've got Let's Cuddle weeded, and now we're gonna do the next part. So again, I'm just like pushing or rolling back with my hand, and then it pops up off of the sheet, which is really nice. This is why it's so important to make sure you haven't just applied lotion or any oils, or you've eaten a snack or something, because all of that can get on your transfer sheet because we are touching it and actually wreck it. And speaking from experience, definitely do not apply lotion, because I did that once and ruined the entire project, which was a huge bummer. All right, so we've just got football left. And again, the inside of the F kind of wants to come up too. I'm actually just gonna push down with my weeder tool. That can help. And then one other thing I like to do is if I've got a really long word or phrase as I'm weeding, sometimes I like to just go ahead and cut it away so I don't have as much material sticking up that I've already weeded. So you can try that if that helps. All right, so we've got it completely weeded. So that's what it looks like from the back side. So this is the ink side. And then when we put it on our koozie, we're gonna put it face down. So that's what it will look like. And then obviously it will be blue. I did go ahead and weed my other designs as well, and I wanted to show you 2 of them. These are only about like 3 inches by 3 inches, and I'm honestly so impressed at how precise the Cricut can cut and how well it did cutting the infusible ink too. Here's another more like complex one. So just lots of, I mean, it's a simple design, but there's just lots to weed around and weed inside. So now we will get our EasyPress out and we'll get transferring these. To figure out the settings for the EasyPress, you can go to Cricut's heat guide. I will leave a link below with that. Definitely use this for your EasyPress. It'll tell you not only the time and temperature, but also other really important instructions as well. So you'll start by clicking on your EasyPress, selecting your heat transfer material. And then for our base, obviously koozie isn't listed here. We decided to go with the tote bag settings because it was the most similar as far as like with polyester. So then as you can tell, these are all the instructions that we're gonna follow, and I'll reiterate them as we go, but we'll preheat for 15 seconds, 385 for 40 seconds, and all that jazz. Definitely use this heat guide for your heat transfer projects. It is super helpful. So I'm working with the EasyPress 6x7, but any EasyPress or heat press will do. You do need to be able to adjust the time and temperature though, so you cannot use an iron for infusible ink. So I'm gonna get this powered on. As you just saw from the heat guide, we're gonna set it to 385 for 45 seconds. Again, I am not a pro at this. Our team tested it out and we liked the settings and the results with this. So if you are a sublimation pro, you might have a different suggestion for time and temperature, and you can let us know in the comments below, but this has seemed to work well. All right, so then I've got my EasyPress mat. We've got a piece of like scrap cardstock and then butcher paper. And the butcher paper does come with the infusible ink transfer sheets. The first thing we're going to do is take a lint roller and just clean off the koozie. There was a lot of dust on mine, so it's super important that you clean it first, otherwise that can interfere with the ink transferring. So then from here, you can go ahead and we're gonna put a piece of cardstock underneath. If any ink bleeds off, it's going to fall onto the cardstock and not onto the EasyPress mat. So we'll wait for this to get heated up and then we'll get going. All right, so we're all preheated, and the first thing we're going to do is preheat our koozie. So I'm gonna cover it with butcher paper, and then we're gonna preheat for 15 seconds. Perfect. That's gonna remove any moisture, so it's super important to do that step. So now you can take your butcher paper off, and we're going to put our design onto the koozie. So line it up wherever you want, and then once you've got a spot, you can push down. Now remember, this transfer sheet is tacky, so it is sticking on, but I usually like to add some heat resistant tape, and this is what it looks like. We have it available on our website. It's from Cricut. I just like to add a little bit just for good measure. If your transfer sheet moves at all during the heat transfer process, you'll get some like ghosting or fading look, and it just doesn't look right. So I like to just be extra careful and place on the tape. It is sticky enough. This one probably would have been okay, but I have failed too many times, so now I just like to continually do this. All right, so we've got our design on, and then again, we are going to put the butcher paper back on top, and then we are going to apply our EasyPress with light pressure. And it's super important, again, that we do not move our EasyPress, our table, or anything really, because it can interfere with the process. So we'll go ahead, slowly set this on, and we will get going. All right, so we're all finished, so slowly lift it up and place it back on the plate, and we'll remove our butcher paper. And then it does say to do a hot peel or warm peel. Obviously this is super hot, so I'm gonna grab some tweezers and just gently lift it off. Perfect. So that is how our first koozie turned out. I just love working with infusible ink because that is permanently transferred in. I mean, it's ink, so it's completely smooth and it's super nice. I'm gonna get the rest of the koozies done and then I'll show you what they all look like at the end. So we are all finished. Here's how the 4 of them turned out. I'm super excited. So these 2 are the distress pattern and I really like how it turned out. You can kind of see a little bit, I think, here of the distressed look. And then these 2 were from that mermaid sampler and they're just so vibrant and pretty. And again, I'm just so impressed that this is only like 3 inches tall and it just turned out so good. That is how you can use infusible ink transfer sheets to make some custom koozies. I did want to say quick, I'm very certain that using anything related to the NFL might be illegal. I think for personal use it's okay, but I would not go and sell anything with the name of a football team on it. So just a heads up. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments below and we'd love to help you out. Thanks for watching.